this signal is not pain, and our bodies don't detect pain. And I notice how many doctors, physios, exercise physiologists, chiropractors, physicians actually didn't understand pain properly when they were treating me, and how that actually was a big role in me struggling so much to find relief. Any signal or any impulse coming from any bodily area, they would always equate this to pain. I never want to underscore the importance of biology when it comes to pain, but actually these are completely untrue terms. There are no pain pathway, pain signal, pain detector. Pain is not a direct result of any sensory input. This is where the magic happens, and where I'm so excited to tell you what actually happens, so you can generate a clearer idea based on a more modern understanding of pain. Hey guys, really nice to see all of you again. I'm so happy to be here on this journey with you, this journey of navigating your way through chronic pain. Trust me, I know it is one of the most challenging journeys a person can be on. It really takes you to some of the lowest places, but I promise you, if you are willing to have some courage and persevere, as you no doubt are currently doing already, I'm sure, it can definitely be a rewarding journey, one with a lot of meaning, and one which even endows you with a certain amount of wisdom at the end of it. So keep on going. This is the third video I'm making, so please feel free to add any comments into the comment section if you have any questions or anything like that. I'm always so happy to answer. And there might be one or two things that I say that maybe you have a different perspective on, and you are more than welcome to challenge what I say or give your own insights. We're all in this together, and I'm so excited for us all to help each other on this journey. So today I'm talking about something that I'm actually quite passionate about talking about. As you know, similar to you, I've struggled with chronic pain for a long time. And after pursuing a healthcare role specifically dedicated to pain management and having the lived experience myself, I now reflect back upon my journey, and I notice how many doctors, physios, exercise physiologists, chiropractors, physicians, how many of them actually didn't understand pain properly when they were treating me, and how that actually, was a big role in me struggling so much to find relief. So typically, a lot of healthcare professionals operate in what we call a purely biomedical view of pain. And it's very sad for people like us, especially if we've been in chronic pain for a long time. It's really sad for us to encounter people who lack a contemporary understanding. And typically, in terms of a biomedical model, many of these practitioners that we see, or at least I saw in the past, they would always equate tissue damage to pain, and they would always have this very robust or strong idea that any signal from a tissue, so be it your hand, be it your knee, any signal or any impulse coming from any bodily area, they would always equate this to pain. And I'm sure you would very often, just like me, you might have heard the terms pain pathway, pain signal, pain detector. But actually, these are completely untrue terms. There are no pain pathways in our body. There are no pain detectors. Sure, our body sends valuable information to our brains that may include messages regarding potential danger, but there are no such things as pain pathways or pain messages in our bodies. So what typically happens is, if you've struggled with pain for a very long time, and in whatever area it may be, your body will send a sensory signal to your spinal cord, which will often go to your brain and may or may not result in pain. So most doctors who operate in a biomedical model, they equate this sensory signal, maybe it's from your hand or your knee, but they equate this with pain. But actually, this signal is not pain, and our bodies don't detect pain. They may detect danger, but they don't detect pain. And actually, what fascinates me, and what really opened my mind up to this, and what I'm sure will open up your mind, is that you don't even need the signal from your body, from your knee, from your back, from your foot. You don't even need that to create pain. In physiological terms, we call that signal from a body tissue, we call it nociception. It's an afferent impulse, or an impulse going up towards your brain from your tissues. And we don't need that to produce pain. And that is not pain. And a perfect, beautiful example to illustrate this to you is phantom pain. So have you heard of veterans or people like that who have maybe lost a limb, but they still feel pain? So they are not getting that sensory input. They are not getting those signals, but yet they still feel pain. And I just think that's such a beautiful example to illustrate to you that pain is actually created at a higher level within your brain. And although that sensory information, or the information coming from your tissues, it certainly can be important. It's valuable information. And I never want to underscore the importance of biology when it comes to pain, because especially if we have been in chronic pain for a long time, we get better at producing it. The synapses between cells become more efficient through a process called long-term potentiation. We also get more receptors or ions in the channels of nerves that detect certain stimuli. And if you've had an acute injury, like you've fallen off a horse or you've had a car accident, there's definitely a biological component. So I never want to underscore that, but I want to emphasize the very important point that pain is not a direct result of any sensory input, and you don't even need sensory input to produce pain. So I hope that's made some sense. Now, this is where the magic happens and where I'm so excited to tell you what actually happens, so you can generate a clearer idea based on a more modern understanding of pain. So yes, if you've been struggling with pain for a long time, as I have, and as I'm sure you no doubt have, often our nervous system definitely plays a role in relaying certain information to the brain, and it can become very good at doing that. So let's say you've struggled with a sore back or a sore knee for a long time. Just whatever you're struggling with, picture that in your head. You have nerves going to that part of your body, and at the end of those nerves, we have receptors. And those receptors can pick up any change in your body, whether it's mechanical or chemical or maybe thermal, but they detect these things. They don't detect pain. And what happens is, if they detect one or two of these things, let's say you've struggled with a very sore hand for a long time, you can certainly have signals going from your hand all the way to your spinal cord. We call the nerves that relay those signals, we call them nociceptors, and they detect changes in our environment, and they send messages to the spinal cord through something that we call an action potential. And they send these messages to the spinal cord, and in the spinal cord, these messages undergo a lot of modulation. So from things like interneurons, from descending messages from the brain, so they undergo a lot of modulation. And these signals may or may not go up to your brain. So if these signals from your tissues, from your knee or whatever it may be, if they go to your brain, do they immediately result in pain? Definitely not. Your brain takes these signals and it integrates these signals with so many other things. It integrates these signals with memories, with future events that you anticipate, with things that happen in your past, with people in your life, with the thoughts that you have in your head and your cognitions and the things that you think and believe. Don't forget that thoughts also have a biological substrate. So when you have a thought, it's not just hanging around in the ether or in space. A thought produces juice at the end of a neuron, just in the exact same way that your tissue can send an impulse to your brain. And an impulse from a thought is no less important. So your brain integrates that signal from your body, be it your hand or whatever it may be. It integrates that signal with so much other information. And this is where a beautiful new model, which is very different to the biomedical model, this is where a new model comes into play. And this model is called the biopsychosocial model. And this model emphasizes the idea that in multiple human experiences, including the experience of pain, our brain draws upon not just biological factors, so not just the signal from the tissue, but it also draws upon psychological factors and social factors and so many factors that, are separate from our biology. So yes, in the case of an acute injury, if you've fallen out of a car or done something like that, definitely there's a very important biological component. But if you've been like me and you've struggled with chronic pain, so pain for a period of 3 months or longer, there's certainly a biological component. Your body's gotten better at producing pain. You're much more sensitized. But the psychological and the social factors are so important, and they play a huge role in determining if your brain produces pain or not. So in the biopsychosocial model, we understand that various different things affect your pain, and we understand that multiple brain parts are implicated in the experience of pain. There's no one brain part. We don't have a pain node. Just like I explained to you in the last session, just like your grandmother is distributed all over your brain, pain is also an experience involving multiple different areas. And if you've experienced pain for a long time, it becomes better and better and better at producing pain. So think about it as almost like a song that's been on repeat for a long time. You have a playlist in your head, and let's call it the pain playlist. And you've been playing the song for a long time, and your brain has been getting better and better and better at producing the song. So it's more efficient. The song plays more easily. It comes on more quickly. It's louder every time you play it. The volume is turned up. But here's where the beauty comes in. We are the most remarkable, complex, and adaptable creatures. Even at an older age, we can change the way our brain behaves through a process called bioplasticity. So it was previously thought that, only babies could really change the structure of their brains. But even us as adults, we have the ability to change the way our brain functions. And we have the ability to introduce new songs into our playlist. So we have trillions of brain cells, and we have trillions of different connections in our brains. We have old cells dying all the time, and we have new cells being created. You are creating cells in your brain right until your last breath. How beautiful and amazing is that? So we have the ability to introduce new tracks into our playlist. Maybe you want to introduce a little bit of jazz into your brain, or a little bit of hip hop. But you have this amazing ability to change, and it does take some courage, and it takes some patience, and you have to look in places that you originally wouldn't expect, but you can certainly do it, and we can do it together. So I think the first message from this video is to realize that pain is impacted by so many different things, and there are no such things as pain detectors, pain pathways, or pain messages. We have information from our tissues, but ultimately in the end, it's the brain that decides whether or not we experience pain. Our brain is the big boss. So on my journey, it's quite sad that it took a really, really long time for me to find people who really integrated a biopsychosocial approach into their treatment plans. But I did go through a very, very long process of encountering doctors and professionals who would always look for the source of my pain in my tissues, which is sometimes appropriate, but in the case of chronic pain, it's not appropriate. So hopefully from this video, you've understood a little bit about the difference between a biomedical model and a biopsychosocial model, and how different they are. And hopefully you feel a bit more empowered. Hopefully you know that pain is not, an exact representation of what's going on in your tissues. So in the comments, I'd love to hear about your experience. Was your experience similar to my experience? Did you also encounter doctors who didn't understand pain in the same way that more modern thinking scientists and more modern thinking clinicians explain pain? Please share your thoughts in the comments. I'm so excited to get your feedback and hear what you have to say. And I'd just like to end on a final note and let you know that, this is a challenging journey. I know that it can be really rough, But just by engaging in processes like this to seek out information and to empower yourself, you're really taking a proactive approach. So let's do this together. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email. I'm always there to listen, and I look forward to chatting to you again. Cheers, guys.